Imagine for a moment that you're a ruler in the 1600s, making important decisions for your empire. Your nation's power depends on how much wealth you control. Imperialism means other countries are competing with you for resources, colonies, and trade routes. Wars have been fought over goods such as spices. Entire fleets of ships are sailing the seas, searching for resources in faraway lands. You want your empire to flourish, so how will you manage trade? You have two options. Mercantilism is a system where the government tightly controls trade to keep wealth within the country. Colonies provide gold, silver, and other raw materials, which are sent to the mother country to make manufactured goods. The nation exports more than imports. This is important so that it can gain more gold and silver, making it richer and more powerful. Capitalism allows private businesses to trade freely and create new sources of wealth. In a capitalist economy, many people and businesses compete to earn money, start companies, and grow their wealth. Like in this image, everyone is reaching for the same prize, but not everyone will get it. Capitalism encourages innovation and creates opportunities, but it also involves risks and rewards. Some individuals or companies gain more wealth and power than others. This is one way capitalism has shaped economies around the world. Government control or free trade? Which one would be best? Your decision could shape the future of your empire and the world. To help you make your choice, let's gather clues to answer this world history mystery question. In the early modern world, why did some countries grow rich through trade while others struggled? As we gather evidence, we'll compare mercantilism and capitalism, examine the causes and effects of the shift toward modern market economies, and analyze the impact of these economic systems on global trade and colonization. Are you ready, historians? In the 1600s, nations had two primary ways of thinking about wealth and trade: mercantilism and capitalism. Mercantilism meant that a country's power depended on how many resources it could own, things like gold and silver. To get richer, governments tightly controlled trade, making sure more wealth flowed in than out. They set up colonies to provide raw materials, like cotton and sugar, without relying on other countries. For example, instead of buying sugar from rival nations, England could import it directly from its Caribbean colonies. Since the nation's elite controlled those territories, they saw the resources as theirs, which meant more profits for the mother country. This system fueled transatlantic trade, where goods, enslaved people, and raw materials moved between Europe, Africa, and the Americas. To maintain control, mercantilist nations forced their colonies to trade only with them. Why would they do that? Because this kept most profits in the mother country. Next, the mercantilist nation placed high taxes on any foreign goods. Why did this matter? Again, this ensured money kept flowing to the mother country. But what if you were a common merchant, someone whose livelihood depended on selling your goods? It would limit your business because most profits stayed with the government and elite merchants, not ordinary people. What was the primary goal of mercantilism? The main goal of mercantilism was to keep wealth inside the country and grow stronger than your rivals. So as a ruler in the 1600s, how would mercantilism benefit your empire? Pause here to respond. Capitalism, on the other hand, encouraged free markets. Instead of the government controlling trade, private businesses and individuals could buy, sell, and compete as they wished. Do you think common merchants would like this system better than mercantilism? Merchants and companies competed by lowering prices, improving products, and finding faster trade routes to attract more customers. Capitalists believed that trade should be open and people could create wealth by investing, inventing, and taking risks. This system rewarded innovation and helped drive industrialism, as new technologies and factories transformed production and trade. These different economic systems shaped global trade and competition in the early modern world. Mercantilism led to powerful empires and colonization. Capitalism encouraged trade, competition, and new businesses. As a ruler in the 1600s, you have to consider, how might mercantilism and capitalism benefit your empire? What challenges might each system create for you? Pause here to respond. For centuries, many countries practiced mercantilism, controlling trade to gain wealth and power. But over time, things began to change. Leaders saw the benefits of capitalism to increase their wealth. The world gradually started shifting toward market economies, where supply, demand, and competition, rather than strict government control, determined trade. Why did this shift occur? One big cause of this shift was exploration and colonization. As European nations expanded across the globe, they discovered new resources, markets, and trade routes. More goods, like spices, cotton, and sugar, became available, and merchants wanted more freedom to trade without government restrictions. Another key factor was the rise of banking and investment. Merchants and businesses needed money to fund voyages and new businesses. Banks offered loans for those, allowing more people to gain wealth. And then came joint stock companies, businesses where many people invest their money together. Instead of one person paying for everything, investors each contributed a smaller amount. In return, they shared both the risks and the profits. If the business succeeded, everyone made money. If it failed, no single person lost everything. This system made it possible for larger expeditions without one person bearing all the financial risk. One famous example you may remember is the British East India Company. It was formed by investors who wanted to trade with India and other parts of Asia. It sent ships, built trading posts, and even had its own army to protect its business. Because many people invested, the company could afford larger and riskier trade ventures. Joint stock companies helped England grow rich from global trade. Banks and joint stock companies helped businesses grow. This led to a system where individuals, not just governments, controlled wealth. As a result, capitalism began to replace mercantilism. Instead of relying on the government to control trade, more people wanted free markets where businesses competed, set prices, and traded openly. What impact could this global shift, from mercantilism to capitalism, have on your empire? Pause here to respond. This shift had huge effects. Global trade increased and new industries emerged. The increase in industrialism transformed economies around the world. Think back to previous lessons on industrialism and urbanization. What problems came with these changes? As factories grew, workers faced tough living and working conditions, and wealth was not always shared equally. Even today, we see the effects of this shift. Modern economies are based on markets, but governments still debate how much control they should have. So, have you made a decision yet? Do you think a totally free market is the best system? Or should governments play a bigger role in the economy? Pause here to respond. Mercantilism and capitalism didn't just shape economies, they transformed the world. Both systems played a huge role in global trade and colonization, but in different ways. Mercantilism fueled colonization. European nations raced to build empires. Countries like Spain, France, and England set up colonies to supply raw materials like sugar, tobacco, and cotton. Colonies were forced to trade with their mother country. This increased wealth and power for European nations, but limited local economies. To enforce these rules, European countries expanded their military and navy, leading to conflicts over land and trade routes. Some European countries greatly expanded their wealth during this time. Those that controlled more colonies had stronger navies, and dominated trade routes gained the most, since it gave them greater access to valuable resources and markets. Meanwhile, capitalism encouraged private businesses and open markets. Merchants and investors took more control of trade. Joint stock companies, like the British East India Company, helped spread capitalism worldwide. They set up ports, traded freely, and even had their own armies. Unlike mercantilist colonies, capitalist economies thrived on competition and investment, leading to the rise of major cities and banking systems. As trade expanded, port cities like Amsterdam and London became bustling financial and commercial hubs, attracting merchants, workers, and businesses seeking new opportunities. The effects of these systems were massive. Perhaps the biggest was globalization, when countries, people, and businesses connect to exchange knowledge, goods, and culture. Global trade exploded, with goods, people, and ideas moving across continents. However, colonization also led to inequalities and abuses, such as forced labor and cultural change, for indigenous and enslaved peoples. As colonial powers gained wealth, the territories they colonized lost it. While capitalism encouraged economic growth, it also widened the gap between the rich and poor and brought conflicts over trade. Even today, global trade is shaped by these past systems. Some countries still protect their economies, while others promote free markets. So you have a decision to make. Do you think global trade for your empire should be controlled or left open for competition? Mercantilism focused on controlling trade to gain national power. Capitalism encouraged free markets and private business. The shift toward market economies expanded global trade. Both systems led to colonization, economic growth, and conflicts. Now that we've gathered the evidence, we can see why some countries grew rich through trade while others struggled. Now it's time for your decision. Would you choose mercantilism and place tight restrictions on trade, using your colonies to fuel your economy? Or would you opt for capitalism and encourage businesses to trade freely and create new wealth for your empire? Pause here to respond, explaining your answer. Next time, we'll explore a system that shaped economies and societies for centuries and has since been abolished, but still impacts the world today. Until then, keep exploring the past and shaping the future, and remember to always be clever. Hey, hey.